6:23, should teens be allowed to leave school to go to doctor's visits without their parents' permission, without their parents knowing about it? It's an old debate. It dusts up occasionally here in California. Several times it's ended up being a proposition on our statewide ballot. While it's an argument that's getting fresh steam in the San Juan Unified School District, Rebecca Goodeman joins us now from the National Center for Youth Law to talk about it on the phone this morning. Hi, Rebecca. How are you?
Good morning.
Help me out. You're an attorney, correct?
I am an attorney, yes.
Just wanted to know that, but don't ask me why. This is, I know people want to get wound up on this issue. Before we even let that happen at all, I want to be clear. This is something that is already decided at the state level. It's not left to school districts to decide, and now the San Juan Unified School District is just talking about complying with an existing statute.
That's exactly right. San Juan did a review of their policies, realized that they were out of compliance with state law in this place, and so what they'll be voting on tonight is a policy that looks exactly like that you'd find in the majority of school districts because it's required by state law.
Okay, and one of the reasons I wanted to confirm you were a lawyer, here's the kind of thing, it's a dumb question, but I'm not afraid to ask them. I know that this is part of the state education code. State education code equals full force of the law, that is like any other law passed by the legislature?
Exactly right, and
okay.
Actually it also comes from our state constitution.
Okay, well, as determined by a Supreme Court decision, I mean, it's not very specifically in the Constitution, correct?
Exactly, from a decision.
Okay, now how far back does this go? Because, you know, as I said in my introduction to you, this comes up occasionally. Somebody will get on the statewide ballot. It's a very contentious issue, especially as we, talk about abortion. How long has it been state law that schools must do this in California?
Well, actually, youth have had the right to access confidential services from as early as the 1950s. That's when our first state law went into effect. And the California Attorney General explicitly laid out this requirement that schools make confidential release available way back in 1983.
Yeah, and what are there are like 1,000 school districts in California. How many, like San Juan, may not be, complying locally?
We don't know exactly how many are still out of compliance, but as you say, there's over 1,000, so it's hard to do a survey and be sure. Our best guess is that there's maybe a dozen or two that are still out of compliance, and often it's simply because of oversight. It's not anything intentional. Okay.
Hey, Rebecca, I'm going to read you an email from one of our viewers here, and I'll let you answer his question, okay? Or answer his comment. Dennis writes in this morning, because we've been asking folks about this. He writes, a child should never be allowed to leave campus without parents' permission. This could never happen to my child. I would homeschool them if the public school my child went to allowed this. Do you have news for Dennis?
Well, I guess I'd let Dennis know that he should be rest assured that the great majority of youth absolutely do involve their parents when they've got difficult medical things going on. And the reason that our state and most states have laws like this is to allow flexibility for those very few vulnerable youth who don't have supportive parents like Dennis able to provide their kids wise counsel and advice. And in those situations, the bottom line is every parent wants their kids safe and healthy, and that's what this law does. It makes sure they can get what can literally be life-saving health care. Okay, well, if this comes up again on the ballot, and I bet it does, we'll mix it up on this again, but thanks very much, Rebecca. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
You betcha. 6:27 at Fox 40 Live. Tonight's board meeting will be held at San Juan Unified Headquarters. I know people are passionate about this. I don't know if they've got any wiggle room at all. Sounds like they don't. The meeting will be located at 3738 Walnut Avenue in Carmichael. Meeting begins at 6:30. Feel free to stop by and share your opinion.